Miami Dolphins ended up taking Devon Achane with the 84th overall pick, and I want to talk about why I love this player, why I think this guy is one of the guys you have to take if you are playing in Dynasty, and why he's one of those guys that's being kind of underrated at the moment. Plus, I think from a scheme fit perspective, this makes so much sense for Achane. Let's talk about this. Achane, if you guys don't know, has world-class speed, and when I say world-class speed, I'm talking about world-class speed. The guy was a superstar in track. He did both indoor and outdoor track for Texas A&M. He won a whole lot of different awards over the course of his college career. He was an All-American, and his 4x100 relay team in 2021 ended up winning. He himself won the 60-meter dash at the 2022 Don Kirby Open. And he ran a 4.32 at the 40-yard dash, right? So he crushed the NFL Combine. But his tape really backs up why the Dolphins took him with the 84th overall pick. Now, keep in mind, 84th overall pick, considering the running back position doesn't hold a lot of value in the eyes of NFL GMs, kind of tells you that that's a pretty high pick, right? A lot of guys picked around where Achane was picked have success in the NFL. Plus, there's already so many running backs in the NFL where teams are kind of devaluing the position a little bit more. And this year we had like 10 or 11 really good backs kind of come out, right? So although he was the 84th overall pick, I think he's one of those guys that should go in the first round in rookie drafts, right? Right now, his rookie dynasty ADP is 2.2, which means he's an early second round pick, but I think that's a little low for this guy. I'll be the first to tell you guys, I think after Jamari Gibbs, Achane is right there, as in like the guy that's going to have long-term value. And I shouldn't say aside from Gibbs, right? I would say it's 1A, 1B with Achane and Gibbs, right? I think those two guys are going to have long NFL careers. And I think long NFL careers at the running back position leads to great dynasty value. I think guys like Christian McCaffrey and Alvin Kamara, I think Achane and Gibbs kind of fit in that similar mold. And I'm not putting Bijan Robinson there. I think Robinson's more of a pure running back, right? That Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley, Adrian Peterson type of mold of players. Achane's different, and that's why I think his ADP should be higher. And if you have a pick towards the end of the first round, you got to take this guy. I oftentimes say this. There's a big difference between having straight line speed and football speed, right? When you put the pads on, you put that helmet on, and your vision goes from this down to this, it makes a massive difference. And to me, when you look at a guy like Achane, you watch his tape, you see this guy has everything you want out of a running back. He will make people miss, right? He had 53 missed forced tackles in college this past season, which puts him up there as one of the most coming out of in this draft class. Aside from forcing missed tackles, elite vision, great balance, makes all the cuts. But most importantly, and I know this is what NFL GMs value the most when it comes to running backs, especially guys that have speed, is the stop-start quickness, right? When a guy is running to the right and a guy, corner's there, now he has to cut it back, 2 yards to the left. How fast can he stop, make the cut, and then get back to 100% speed? Achane is probably the best in this class. Like, this guy has legit ass speed, and I think for those reasons, this guy's being undervalued. I think he's going to be the best running back out of this class. Him and Gibbs, I think, are going to be superstar backs, especially from Dynasty, right? Keep in mind, Dynasty is a little bit different than, looking at it in a different perspective of like who's the pure best running back, right? I think when it comes to running backs, you have to look at the ability to make catches and plays out the backfield. Pass protection oftentimes allows you to be a true 3-down running back, and I think Achane has it all. Now, obviously, from a scheme fit perspective, I think this pick makes a whole ton of sense. 4.32 40-yard dash, that puts him in the 98th percentile. And we know how Mike McDaniel, the current head coach of the Miami Dolphins, uses running backs, how he uses speed, right? You see Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, they're making these massive 70, 80, 90-yard plays all the time. And I think it's because of Mike McDaniel's ability to just kind of be creative, get his guys out in space and let his guys make people miss. And I think Achane is going to come into the Dolphins, and maybe it's not year one where he's still kind of adjusting to the speed of the game, but maybe towards the second half of his first year. But year two, definitely, I think this guy's going to be an absolute superstar. I think Achane is going to eventually overtake Tyreek Hill as the #1 player on that offense. Obviously, Hill is getting up there in age, so naturally Hill's going to get worse and worse as he kind of continues down his career. And I think Achane's going to just get better and better and better. And this guy was already a superstar at Texas A&M, right? But more than just his speed and the fact that Mike McDaniel knows how to kind of draw things up, I think the biggest thing for me is the running style of the Dolphins. The Dolphins are a heavy wide zone scheme. They're going to run a lot of zone plays, right? They're going to get those offensive linemen. They're going to get them running 3-4 yards to the right, really try to hook those guys. As opposed to inside zone, right? The Dolphins do a lot more wide zone, and that's important, right? Because inside zone, wide zone are completely different. For offensive linemen, it's different. For running backs, inside zone oftentimes starts where you start running towards the tackle and then you really kind of just cut it back towards the inside, as opposed to wide zone really starts towards the outside of the tackle, towards that tight end. And then from there, you know, you already kind of got the defense flowing. You have more options to cut it out, bend it back. So to me, wide zones, it's the best running style to run. It is the most complicated for offensive linemen, for running backs, but Achane ran a lot of wide zone in college. So I think in that perspective, it's a perfect fit. Achane in college ran 117 zone runs and 79 power runs. And of the 117 zone runs, majority of those were wide zone. So I think in that instance, the scheme fit is perfect. Mike McDaniel obviously comes from the Kyle Shanahan scheme. They continue to run that wide zone. It's why Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson have had so much success over the past year or so. And I know some people are going to say, well, those guys kind of devalue Achane a little bit. And that is true, right? And that is the one thing that you really have to consider. How many carries will Achane get? And then at the same time, how many carries will Mostert continue to get? Or Wilson? How many carries will these guys continue to get? On top of that, you got to factor in Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill's usage, right? And all of those are legit concerns, right? But I think over time, right, give it a year or two, I think it's going to be very clear Achane is arguably the best weapon on this offense. And I think when you're the best weapon, you're going to be used, right? It's like kind of bringing in Christian McCaffrey to the Niners as Kyle Shanahan did this past year and then not using him, right? That wouldn't make sense, right? I think Achane, if it isn't the first 8 games of this season, it'll be the second 8 games. I think right after Tyreek Hill, he'll have the second most usage. Plus, I think going into year 2 or 3, especially year 3, I think Achane gets more touches than anyone else on the offense. I think this guy is a special football player. And I know people have concerns with his size, right? He's 5'8 and a half, 188 pounds. And that's definitely understandable, but this guy definitely plays bigger, right? He plays bigger than his actual frame, right? He doesn't play smaller, right? Think about a guy like Darren Sproles as an example. Darren Sproles played a lot smaller, right? And he was small, right? He was just as small as Achane, but Achane plays bigger than he is, right? So I hope that makes sense. I'm taking Achane higher than his current ADP, which is 2.2. I think his overall ADP, if you're looking at just a draft perspective, is, I believe it's about 114 right now, which is also really, really, really low. I'm taking Devon Achane. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think about this pick. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time with another video.